Hi guys, so yesterday I watched the new Suicide Squad movie and I was in love with it. When the trailer first came out, I made like a reaction video to the trailer. I've just been really excited about this film for a really long time, so I'm gonna make a reaction video to it, or well, review, more like review. First of all, I just want to say, kind of mainly in response to Social Repose's video saying Suicide Squad sucks, I feel like it's like a trend now to hate on DC movies instead of Marvel movies, and it just kind of annoys me a little bit. I sound like a really pissy DC Comics fan. I love Marvel and I love DC, and I feel like people are expecting way too much. I'm a fan of Social Repose, by the way. That's why I'm using his video as a reference, because he's one of the only Suicide Squad like review videos that I've watched, because I feel like a lot of people are just kind of saying the same thing, like, oh, I don't understand the plot. Yeah, okay, anyway. I'm probably gonna roll my eyes a lot. I'm sorry if I come across as really obnoxious. I'm an obnoxious person, I'll own it. So yeah, I feel like it's kind of a fad now that people talk about DC, talk shit about DC basically. The one thing I'll agree on is that it did seem kind of rushed, Suicide Squad, because I think the writer didn't get very long on it, and also they had so much to put into a movie, and they also probably didn't know whether the movie would even go down that well, because obviously if you read comic books and you're like a fan of DC, you will know about Suicide Squad already, but the world didn't really know about people like Deadshot and Harley Quinn. Yeah, Social Repose compared this film in some ways to The Dark Knight, saying that the bad guy in this film didn't really have much depth to it, and compared it to Heath Ledger's Joker. In my opinion, if you compare a bad guy to Heath Ledger's Joker, you're going to be disappointed in every bad guy, because Heath Ledger's Joker is probably one of the best villains in a movie that I've ever seen. The Joker is obviously one of my favourites anyhow, but let me show you my t-shirt. Oh yeah. Yeah, the Joker's obviously one of my favourite bad guys anyway. I love the Joker in pretty much everything. Obviously when I was young there was only mainly Jack Nicholson's Joker. I liked that. I preferred Jim Carrey's Riddler though. And then you obviously had Heath Ledger's Joker, which was just legendary. If you watch Gotham, I'm pretty sure Cameron Monaghan is going to be the Joker. He's currently Jerome Valeska. And then obviously there's Jared Leto's Joker, which I was also extremely impressed with. But more on that later. This was a fun movie more than anything else, and I do think there was a plot there, but I also think that they had to fit a lot into one film, and they couldn't even be sure whether they would get lots of that back. They probably didn't want to make a 3-hour movie for the first Suicide Squad film, because who knows if people would have even gone to watch it. I like the way they introduced all the characters, because there was a lot going on with Suicide Squad because there's so many characters. It's kind of like the Avengers, except Marvel probably had more of a build-up to the Avengers. They had introduced more of the characters, I think. They did anyway. I personally think Cara Delevingne could have been a bit more believable, but maybe that's just because I know her as a model. I did think the bad guys were still pretty scary in my opinion, and I think that their reason behind what they were doing is because they were used to being worshipped basically as gods, and then they were brought back into this world where this woman was basically trying to control them and use them for her will basically. So yeah, I can understand where the bad guy was coming from actually. I do think there was a bit more depth there than some people thought there was. I thought the plot was still pretty good, however I don't think it needed an amazing plot because it was a fun movie. I just wanted to see Deadshot kill people, and I wanted to see Harley Quinn and the Joker for the first time. That scene with Harley Quinn and the Joker when they're in Arkham Asylum and he's talking to her, I was so glad that they brought that to life. I thought it was really interesting. I think Jared Leto's, obviously we all know he's an amazing actor and he really puts himself into every role, and I think all the actors did really well. Well, I've said Cara Delevingne could have been possibly a bit more believable, but yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna stop basically ranting. I liked the emotional side to Deadshot. Me and Ollie was like nearly crying at one point. Some parts obviously were a bit like cringy because that's just the way it is, but Guardians of the Galaxy is probably one of my favourite films ever. And I've probably had the biggest cringe from a film ever on that part near the end when he says something like, yeah bitch, we're the Guardians of the Galaxy, or something like, oh god, it made me cringe so bad. So yeah, I think all of these fun comic book movies have some cringy parts, and also some parts that make you kind of think, what the hell's going on, because it's so out there, it's so out there. That's what's so amazing about comic book films and comic books, in my opinion. They can do whatever they want. So I think some people find it hard to get into that, and then they think that it means that it's just a stupidly written movie or something like that. The Joker was the best part, in my opinion. I've already spoke a little bit about the Joker and Jared Leto. I thought it was a different kind of like gangster Joker thing. Like in The Dark Knight, the Joker was still kind of like a gangster, like almost like a mob boss kind of thing, where he wears the masks and he takes people into the bank and anyway, he is a very, very, very complex character, and he's probably the best character that's ever been created, in my personal opinion. Obviously can't say much more than my opinion, but yeah, I think this was a whole different kind of gangster, but it was still like scary, and he was so in control and powerful, and but also still extremely psychotic and unpredictable. And also some parts I found really funny. There was a part where what did he say that was kind of funny? Oh yeah, he held out his ring for someone to kiss, and the guy kissed it, and he goes, he's looking at him, and you're obviously like tense, like what's he gonna do? And he goes, I knew you meant that. I just found it funny. Anyway, I was giggling, everyone else was still probably like, what? There isn't many films that I would rewatch, because a lot of really, really great films don't have that kind of rewatchable factor. They're just kind of like, you're really interested the first time, but then you're like, would I rewatch that again? It's kind of too much going on, like for my brain. I don't really know what to do with that. Like Shawshank Redemption, I've watched it 3 times, but only to show someone else how good it is. Like, you can't just sit there and just kind of watch it. It's not really like fun or anything like that. So yeah, I'd definitely buy this on DVD when it comes out and rewatch it. I'm not so sure if I'd buy Batman vs Superman and rewatch that. I probably would, because I love Jesse Eisenberg. It was also good to see Ben Affleck's Batman in Suicide Squad. That was really cool how he came in a little bit. I love how they bring in all of DC together. You could say that they're kind of copying off Marvel, but I suppose. And one more thing, the soundtrack is so good. You already know that I've covered Heathens by 21 Pilots. They created that song for this, and when it came on, it's like the last song on it, I think. It like introduces the credits, and I was like, yeah, and it was just really cool. Yeah, that's what just helped me. So yeah, overall I'd probably give this film like an 8 out of 10. Obviously you're more than welcome to disagree with me, say you think it was stupid, it was too cringy, blah blah blah, but try and avoid using the phrase there was no plot, because there was a plot. You might not think it was the greatest plot ever. Obviously it's not going to match up to The Dark Knight, but the Dark Knight trilogy had Batman Begins, The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, and I think we can all agree that Batman Begins was nowhere near as good as The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. So if the Suicide Squad is going to be a trilogy or a continuous thing, this one won't be the best, because they had so much to put in together, and it's kind of like they don't know how well it's going to be received. Anyway, I'm just talking about things that I've already spoke about. So yeah, I'm going to go now. I think I'm going to probably buy a new Joker shirt, because Jared Leto's Joker might be my new favourite, or just below Heath Ledger probably. All my links are in the description below, my EP's in there and stuff like that. And also, if you follow me on Snapchat, I think I'm going to copy off Volleybomb soon and do a Snapchat Q&A, because it just looks really fun. It looks like such a cool video to make. So I would love to do that. So follow me on Snapchat, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye!
Say it's me, say it's strange, saying only terrible things. Would it be nice to turn off the lights and see you?
Why so serious? I tried. No, my teeth are too British for that.